This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping up, because this is a Bucking Spurs podcast. That's right. I am Roberto Trejo, your host of this show. And today we're going to talk about FIBA basketball. We're going to talk about Derek White. We're going to talk about the close game that we had versus Turkey and how I think everybody should pump the brakes and chill out and take a chill pill just for a second on that game. We came out, whooped Japan's ass. Roy Hachimichu didn't look all that great in that game, but hey, he's the only really good player. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about the Spurs that are in the FIBA games: Patty Mills, Marco Bellinelli, Chimezie Metu, and of course Derek White. And then I'm going to give you my fantasy 2020 Olympic team. But first, there's a beat, and it goes like this.
It's not supposed to be easy. Every round gets tougher. Penetrate hard. Good passes. Shoot with confidence. I want some nasty.
Let's talk about Turkey. Thanksgiving's around the corner, and white meat or dark meat, baby. No. This game against Turkey, the Turks, they came out and gave us all we could handle, and they pushed us to the brink. They tested our will. They tested our clutchness, our savvy. Basketball in USA is a fantastic sport, but you know what? Across the world, it's catching up. The Turks were there to play. I mean, you look around this tournament, and you got teams like Serbia, who's balling out. Italy's really good. Australia, of course, is doing their things. Spain is a monster, right? All these guys, all these teams that have been playing together for so long, it shows. Their continuity shows on the floor. And Turkey was a prime example of that. Look, this is not our A team. We all know that. We don't got to dog this team that's out there representing our country in China. Stop dogging on them. Stop hating on them, America. We just got to chill out. This is America. We're going to be all right. We got to back these boys up. This is more of our C team. I don't even want to say B team, because I think our B team would still have, more than just 2 all-stars on the team. And later on in the episode, at the end of the episode, I'm going to give my fantasy 2020 Olympic team and who I think should go to the Olympics. But this game against Turkey was a tight one. Look, they played so well. Turks, I don't know what to call them. Turkey played so well against us. They were moving the ball. They were aggressive towards the hoop. They know this FIBA game very well. They're good at it. Iran Ilyasova came out and showed that he's a hell of a basketball player. Chelly Osman came out and said, "Hey, man, I'm here. Cleveland, what's up? Y'all gonna do anything with me or not?" Man, he needs to get the hell out of Cleveland, because that boy can play. He missed a couple clutch free throws. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, guys, that's a big stage. Have you seen those games? Have you heard that crowd? Those chants and those screams and those boos and those I mean, someone drops a dime, going down the lane, and you go, crowd goes crazy. It's like, man, China loves basketball. That's why I can see why a lot of these guys that can't make it in the NBA, they go to China and they play over there and they drop 50 points a game or whatever. But China loves their basketball, so I get it. I'm seeing it there. I mean, the atmosphere is a little bit different. It's a little bit more hostile. I mean, even the buzzer, and every time you make a free throw, you get that little Super Mario bling you know, that little sound effect every time a free throw goes down. It's just an awesome game. And listen, this game is not easy. A lot of us think that, oh, FIBAWC should go out there and whip everyone's ass. Well, yeah, I mean, if we had, you know, our Olympic team out there, we'd be, you know, dominating everybody. That's not a question. But we put this team together in the past month or so. We have Kemba Walker and Chris Middleton, who are our only two All-Stars. We had a Jason Tatum who went down at the very end. I mean, shout out to Jason Tatum. If he didn't get fouled on that three-point attempt at the end of regulation, we would have lost that game. So that's a really savvy play by Jason Tatum, and he bailed us out there. Then we went to overtime. Hell of an overtime. That was just an awesome game, man. You got to go back and watch that game if you have ESPN Plus. Check out the highlight. The highlights don't do it justice. All right. I think that Derek White is playing about 12 minutes a game, averaging about 5 points, 3 assists, a turnover or 2, but that's fine. Derek White's defending his ass off, and I think that Derek White is learning a lot from this experience. He's gonna take it into next year. This is a tough tournament. It's not like the NBA where the defense can't touch you. Defense touches you, you're going to the line. If the defense touches you, you're going to shoot some free throws. You're going to get the call, right? There's no hand checking. The defensive guard pressure is weak. There is no guard pressure. That's why it's like a one-on-one league. It's a showcase league. Look, I'm not trying to dog NBA, but the NBA is a league that is set up to showcase the talented skills of the individual. Right, that's why there's no help defense in the NBA. If you look at the FIBA basketball, there's help defense. It's hard to get into the paint. It's hard to get into the paint because you're going into 2 or 3 players. That's why you have to run your sets. You have to execute. It's much more like high school and college basketball, but at the optimum level, at the highest level, that you can actually play at. And because of that defensive, strategy and adjustment, we can't just take people off the dribble and whatever and get into the paint, and you don't see a lot of dunks, in FIBA, unless it's like off a backdoor cut, or off a backdoor screen or something like that going to the rim. That's when you see some highlights. But like if you watch Australia, they're running all these actions, right? I mean, I think I talked about them before. I love the way Australia plays, Serbia, Spain, and look, those 3 teams that I mentioned are all teams that have been playing together for a long time, so they know each other. They know each other. That was a tough game, but chill out. We won it. That's the most important thing, is we took home that W. I'm not worried. We came out against Japan. We whooped Japan's ass, but Japan has one NBA player. That's Roy Hachimichu, and he had 4 points in 24 minutes. A lot of Spurs Nation was high up on this guy come draft time, this past draft. And he's a good player. I don't want to dog him too much, because when you're the only good player on a team, it's very easy to defend. Okay, let's target this guy every time he touches the ball. Let's double. Let's get out of his hands. Let's make everything hard for him. But he did have a highlight of him driving down the lane and jamming it on Miles Turner. It was gross. It was sick. But nonetheless, we won by like 60 points. We're up by 60 points at one time. It was just a blowout. So now we have Greece, and now we're taking on Giannis Antetokounmpo in the next game. And that's another team that's just like, okay, you would think you have the MVP of the league, you have Giannis, we should be killing it. But they lost to Brazil the other day against Andrew Barboza and Anderson Varejao and a couple of these guys. Because this is not the NBA, okay? This game is not set up for one person to just dominate. You need camaraderie, you need team defense, you need communication, you know how in the NBA, the most important skill set is shooting? That's where the league is translating now. We want guys who can shoot it from fucking half court, right? And we want to protect our shooters. The rules are set up that way. We want to protect our wing players because they are the face of the franchise. They are the face of the NBA. Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, all these guys. We need to protect the brand. We need to protect the association, all right? So it's a business. FIBA is not a business. FIBA is all about representing your country and finding that pride deep down inside of you to go out there and compete and to battle, and to battle. And that's why I love this FIBA game. This is some of the best basketball that I've seen in a long time, just because of the competition level. I love it. And these players that are playing right now are going to be able to go back into their respective NBA teams with a new swagger. Like, hey man, I played on this stage. I played on the Olympic stage. That's a tough game. This NBA stuff, that's cupcake stuff. That's easy money. I can drive to the hole and get the call, right? Like, so it's just, you look at players that have had really big leaps, you know, after playing in the FIBA games, like Kevin Durant and Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook. You know, Harrison Barnes had a great year the last Olympics. You know, so this tournament's going to help out Derek White. It's going to help him out a lot. So we got Giannis coming up soon, and I'm not too worried because Giannis is great, but Greece is, I would say, just mediocre. You know, they have some good players, but as a squad, they're just mediocre. And so I would say we're a little bit above mediocre. I don't think right now we're playing better than Spain is playing better than Serbia is playing. Actually, Spain just played Italy against our boy Marco Bellinelli. I was watching a little bit of that game right now. So Spain versus Italy. Let's see what the score was. FIBA World Cup. Ooh, Spain won by 7. 67-60 right now. That was a good game. I had to step away from it for a little while. But Marco Bellinelli had 7 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, played 31 minutes. Spain took home the W. Ricky Rubio had 15. Hernan Gomez had 16, right? So those are some of their NBA players. But this is a tough game, and I love the competition level. I know I've said that a few times, but I'm not worried. That game against Turkey didn't worry me. Yes, we're the USA. We're supposed to be the best team in the world. But you know what? The world plays a different game. You know, if all of these NBA... Let's think about it like this. If all of these teams that are in this tournament came to the NBA and played the Kings, or played New Orleans, or played... I don't know who's kind of like a bottom feeder team. You know, Atlanta. Atlanta's a good one. Atlanta's got a good core of young players. If you took Spain or Serbia and told them come to the NBA and play this game, dude, Atlanta would whoop their ass. Sacramento would whoop their ass. That's just, the different styles matter, right? The different styles matter. And we're seeing some of those struggles from USA transfer over to this FIBA game. But that's okay. Look, a little adversity is never a bad thing. It's never a bad thing to get tested and to come out on top, because we did come out on top. Now, should we have lost that game? There's a couple, you know, of cases at the end of regulation and overtime where you could have been like, yeah, man, we're lucky. We're lucky we got that W. But you know what? We got that W. All right, and that's all that matters. So we'll take this experience. We took it into Japan, and obviously Japan was one of those games that we just we're used to seeing. But we're gonna miss Jason Tatum, and this next game in front of us is gonna be tough. It's not gonna be easy. I'm not saying that we're gonna walk away with a 20-point win. We're probably gonna It's probably gonna be a close game. Giannis is gonna do his thing, but I think we're gonna be okay. We got a couple players that we can try to defend him, and that's the thing. Like in the NBA, Giannis can take you off the dribble and he's flying to the rim. He's unstoppable. But in the FIBA game, he's gonna take you off the dribble and run into 2 or 3 players, right? That's the difference. It's tough. I think Derek White is doing a good job guarding. So is Marcus Smart. Donovan Mitchell is doing a fantastic job on the defensive end. Even Kemba stepped up his defensive effort. I can tell in this tournament. Because it's not like one-on-one. In the NBA, you're left on an island, right? One-on-one defense. You better be able to stay in front of your guy. Well, in this one, you don't have to. You know, I mean, you got help. You got plenty of help. All right, so that's my take on those 2 games. I think America needs to chill out. On Twitter was there's a big overreaction across, you know, all the media outlets when we almost dropped that game versus Turkey. And you know what? There should be a reaction. But this whole, oh man, we have our C team, man, we shouldn't lose against Turkey. Turkey only has 2 NBA players. No. Back up. Turkey's a really good team that's been playing together for a while, that has 2 very good NBA players, but they also got a good group of other guys that know their roles and know this FIBA game. And they're ready. They're ready for us. They weren't scared. And I think that punch in the mouth was exactly what we needed. Now let's hope that we can go ahead and go up against Greece, get that dub, move on to the next round. All right, we're going to take a little break. We'll be right back.
Are you a purple and orange bleeding, Maryland flag boasting Baltimore sports fan looking for a podcast that delivers an hour of content every week?
Then you need to subscribe to Charm City Birdwatch, presented by the Big Heads Media Podcast Network.
You'll hear insight on the Ravens, Orioles, and Terps from Jake McDonald, Nolan McGraw, and myself, Ian Schultz.
With takes coming from both fans and young names in the Baltimore sports media conglomerate, Charm City Birdwatch is the perfect place to catch up on Baltimore sports talk. Subscribe today.
So we got Derek White, who I've talked about a lot, so I'm going to kind of save him towards the end. We have Patty Mills, Marco Bellinelli, and Chimezie Metu, our Spurs that are balling out here in this FIBA tournament. Chimezie Metu, we'll start with him because he's the one that we're finally getting a little glimpse at and what he can do and how he's improved, because the last time we saw Chimezie was in Austin. If you want to look at some of his highlights, you can look on YouTube for the Austin Spurs. He had a couple 20-point games. I mean, he can play at that level. He dominated at that level. He had 18-point games, 22-point games, things like that. And here in this FIBA tournament, he's showcasing a skill set that I like. Now, I just did an episode of the Two Shots podcast with Joe Garcia and Paul Garcia from Spurs Cast. So check out the Two Shot podcast. It's going to be coming out either today or tomorrow. And I kind of got into Chimezie a little bit. I said, you know what? I think Chimezie's I think the injury that kept him out of the Summer League was huge. I think that let Drew Eubanks step into the door, that maybe into his spot. I know Chimezie was doing well, but I don't see him taking minutes away from Trey Lyles. I don't see him taking minutes away from Luka. When Luka ever gets his call up, I see Chimezie playing in Austin the majority of this season. Maybe he gets on the trading block. Maybe we can move him for a pick. I just don't see him fitting into what we're trying to do long term. Well, actually, long term, I would love to keep him, but short term, there's no minutes for him. And I don't play Chimezie over Luka. Look, Luka has the upside, and sure, should we let Luka go? Oh man, if y'all want to check a Bucking Spurs pod out on Twitter, I just been getting into it with everybody about Luka. Should he play in Austin or should he not? Answer to that question is yes. He should go to Austin. He will go to Austin. I know that. I am not stupid. I know how great, how superb, how a step above our development program is compared to everyone else's. But still, I don't want him in Austin. I want him in San Antonio. I want to see him in the Spurs jersey. Okay, sue me. I think that we can develop him just as good in San Antonio, giving him limited minutes versus him in Austin. Anyways, we're talking about Chimezie. Now let's just specifically talk about his FIBA game. Okay, so how is he doing in this World Cup tournament? And to be honest, I think he kind of started off a little slow, but Chimezie's one of the best players on his team, right, for Nigeria. On that team, you have other players like Al-Farouq Aminu that are balling out. Okay, so right here, I'm gonna pull up his stats, and Chimezie is like in the top 3 of every category that you want to look at. All right, so let's see in top performers. His efficiencies, he's the 3rd most efficient player behind Josh Okogie, who's also an NBA player. Al-Farouq Aminu is leading, and then Chimezie's there in the 3rd spot. Okay, now he's averaging 12 points a game, right? That's pretty good. He's the 3rd highest third leading scorer. He dropped a sick dime today in the game that he played. He's averaging 1.5 assists. He is turning the ball over, I guess, a lot. I don't know how that happens. 5 turnovers a game? Total turnovers? Or is that rebounds? 5. That's got to be rebounds. 5. Okay, yeah. He's averaging 5 rebounds a game, 1.8 turnovers a game, half a steal, and a 1.3 blocks a game. But he's shooting. The main thing about Chimezie, something that he's doing really well in this tournament, is he's shooting extremely well. His field goal percentage is around 47.8%, so he's finishing inside the paint. His 2-point percentage is 43%. Shooting over 40% is where you want to be. And his 3-point shot, he's only been taking about 2 a game, but he's hitting them, right? So he's shooting 57% from the 3-point line, which is fantastic. And he's money from the free throw line as well. So he's showing that his jump shot is wet. And if you go and look at his play in Austin, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of his game similar, runs a lot parallel with LaMarcus Aldridge. I think that's probably who he is tailoring his game after. He has that mid-range jumper that's pretty wet. And guys, I just don't see it, man. And I was high on Chimezie last year. I just don't see him, coming into the fold here in San Antonio. All right, but let's go ahead and keep it moving. Let's go to Marco Bellinelli. Marco Bellinelli's leading Italy in assists at 3.3 a game. He is also averaging 12 points a game. That's second on his team, right behind Danilo Gallinari. All right, so he's been playing 26 minutes a game. I think that's quite a bit. 2 veteran guards on our Spurs team are playing a crap ton of minutes in this tournament. And I don't know how that's going to transfer over into the season. I mean, let's check out Patty. All right, so I'm gonna go to the Australia's page, and Marco Bellinelli is playing 26 minutes a game, and Patty Mills is playing 33 minutes a game. Good lord, good lord, that's a lot of minutes for these 2 old guys, man. Okay, so I think that's something that they're gonna talk about, right? Come Spurs season. Training camp's gonna start. They're gonna get into it. But in the beginning of the season, guys, I think we can expect Patty and Marco to take a big hit in their minutes, because they're gonna need time to recover from this. I mean, this is not an easy tournament. Other than that, Patty Mills is scoring 20 points a game, so he's dropping buckets. He's shooting just okay from the 3-point line, 31%. That's not great. He needs to be a little bit higher in there, like 37, 38, maybe hitting 40. But he's shooting 59% from mid-range, so he's killing it from the mid-range. So I mean, that seems like Australia's game plan. They have him coming off all these screens, curling screens, taking a lot of mid-range jumpers, little bank shots off the glass and stuff like that. Patty Mills is attacking the rim. He's not settling for 3 balls in this tournament, and that's tough. That's another thing that's hard on the body. So Chimezie's playing all right. Marco's doing good. Patty Mills is holding it down, doing his Olympic thing like he does. And then Derek White's, he's coming along, and he's playing his role, and he's getting better. So all in all, guys, A+ all around, man. I mean, Nigeria, I'm not talking about their individual team, but when I look at their play, they're getting better. All right, so we're going to take another quick break, and we'll come back with my fantasy 2020 Olympic team, right? So if this is our C team, who is on my A team? All right, let's get into that.
Hi, I'm Brad.
This is Rob.
And I'm Dustin.
You guys, I messed up.
I hate him so much, Rob.
Kill yourself already. Jeez.
Oh, we can't use this one. Because you dropped the F-bomb and you told him to kill himself.
Oh, did I say something wrong?
Only on Big Heads Media.
Yes! Nailed it!
God, I hate you guys.
So after watching this tournament, I think something that stands out is that shooting is not as important as perimeter defense. I feel like if being USA, if we can create turnovers and turn that defense into offense, that's going to be one of our main weapons, right? So I'm keeping that in mind into this selection, right? So my starting 5 for the 2020 Olympic team: at the point, This is where I'm having a lot of trouble here. But I'm gonna go with Damian Lillard. I want Westbrook, and only one of those two guys is gonna make this team. Lillard or Westbrook, not both. Not both. All right, so because of the defense, I should go with Westbrook, but I think that in this game, Damian Lillard would be able to step up and lock some people up. At the 2 guard, we have James Harden. That's no. I mean, you have those two guys on this Olympic team, and we're killing everybody, right? So that's to show how far the gap is between our A team and the team that we have right now. I'm gonna have Kawhi at the 3, another defensive stopper, LeBron at the 4, Olympic veteran, and Anthony Davis at the 5. That is my starting lineup in 2020 when we go into that battle. And coming off the bench, I have Steph Curry. Yes, Steph. I want Steph playing off the bench. I want that scoring off the bench, and he just comes in and lights it up. Okay, and then we have Klay Thompson. I want that duo on the floor at as much as possible. Bradley Beal will come in and give us some perimeter defense and shooting as well. And then we got Paul George to lock people up. And then the next big that I can think of that I think can play well in this tournament that has the passing ability, because I don't know if y'all can tell, but big men who pass well are like all-stars in this thing. You know, I mean, this is built for that old school big man who has the skill set to shoot, pass, and finish at the rim and block shots, right? So the only other guy I can think of besides AD that I want to take on that team is Karl Anthony Towns. All right, then the last 2 remaining spots on the roster. One of them's got to go to Draymond Green. We got to get that guy. We got to have someone with the motor, right? The motor, and the guy who's just not going to care about the ball and just going to go in there, rebound, move the ball, and get in the other team's head, right? And really make them feel like, damn, we're not going to win this game. And Draymond will do that, especially with that red, white, and blue on his chest. Now, the last spot. This is the tough one. This is where I think, it could be Westbrook, but I don't think so. I think we got to give it to the guy who's leading us right now. We got to show a little bit of loyalty, and we got to keep Kemba on the squad. So next year, next year into the Olympics, I say we keep Kemba, man. Kemba's showing that he can play in this game and he can dominate in this game, and we're going to need him, and I would like to see him go and represent this squad, the squad that got us to this point. We take the captain out of that squad, and we go ahead and put him on the real thing, right? And we see him go. Those are my teams. Just to recap: Lillard, Harden, Kawhi, LeBron, AD starting for USA. Second group: Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Bradley Beal, Paul George, and Karl Anthony Towns. And then our last 2 remaining spots, if it's a 12-man roster, Kemba Walker and Draymond Green. Let me know what y'all think about that. All right, guys, thank you. This is it for a Bucking Spurs podcast. We'll come out with another podcast soon. USA plays Greece tomorrow, so we'll be talking about that. You can catch us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Podcast, wherever you get your podcast. You can find us there. And now, a Bucking Spurs podcast is a part of Big Heads Podcast Network. So you can go to bigheadsmedia.com and see all of their podcasts that they have going on there, which are really awesome. Not just about sports or about basketball. So if you have other interests, go dive into that website and just go pull something out. And I'm telling you right now that you're going to love it. And that website's growing. The network's growing. A lot of great things coming in the future. So thank you guys for tuning in. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm about to open up our website next month. So big shout out here. www.buckingspurs.com. All right, this is my announcement right now. Appreciate you guys. That will be launching next week when I get it ready. All right, so thank you guys, and as always, go Spurs, go.